All right, everybody, welcome back to Energy for Sales podcast. Tim and David Hooper, Tim Hooper, blah, and David Oliphant. And by the way, did you know that David Oliphant's initials spelled do? And David's always been a doer. He's always been an executor. So go do with Oliphant. But David Oliphant, Tim Hooper, your host, guys. Where we believe if we're not having fun in sales, we're doing something wrong. And that's why we have people like Justin on who help us really have those mental breakthroughs to have the fun, to bring the fun to our clients' lives. So, David, what a great podcast. Go check it out. Justin just brought so much truth and just curiosity, man. ABC is not always be closing. It's always be curious, and closing will be the natural outcome. David, I've got a question for you I'm going to throw to you, but you've taught curiosity for a long time. How do you prepare before a sales call or sales meeting, or maybe a high stakes, maybe you're moving it, you feel like through the stages of the pipeline to a close? How do you prepare your mind, and how do you coach your team on staying curious?
Well, for me, it's always about the preparation. What eases my mind is research and more research. You know, one of the tenets that we talk about all the time is discovery isn't just at the beginning, it's all the way through. But me knowing I'm prepared walking into any environment, it's a sales process, it's a meeting with an executive leadership team of my large organization, it's always going to be in the preparation. I don't practice as much as I should on things. I think I'm better on the fly because of my preparation and my research. But for me, it's carving out some time on my calendar in advance, being prepared, reviewing my notes, having that calm time before it's go time. Being in an environment where I'm comfortable. If I'm going to be on a Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting, and I have some points that I definitely want to bring up, or I have sent a PowerPoint or answer certain things, I'm going to have that on the screen pulled over. I don't need to look at myself on the screen. So I'm going to have my notes of the points that I intend to make. So for me, it's all about that preparation. I've been through some pretty impactful breathing and stillness exercises. To Justin's point, really spending that time breathing in through your nose, out, getting your heart rate down, just really being still, getting to a stillness. But I could do all of that, and if I'm not prepared in advance, I'm going to be a wreck. So for me, it's really understanding and also knowing what I want to accomplish. How do I want to lead that conversation? How can I potentially play chess, not checkers? What are my pitfalls if I want to say this, but could it open up that? I don't want to talk about that. So being pretty prescriptive. Tim, you've known me for a long time. If something can be analyzed, I'm going to overanalyze it. But I've had that conversation dozens, if not hundreds of times in my mind. But again, understanding I don't want to create a rabbit hole for myself, and I don't want to create a pitfall and be asked about something I don't want to talk about.
Yeah, having some contingency around, and I think we all know in any industry there are a few explosive topics. So you'll face some objections that are normal. Price, budget, who makes the decisions? Is this a want or a need? Do they really need it? Is there a timeline to this? Like Justin was saying, unpack if they don't move forward with you. But then I think there are a few things that have to do with more explosive topics, a regulation, legislation changing, somebody in the company wants it, and somebody both in leadership, one person wants it, one person doesn't, and they don't get along nice, and you're caught between the crosses. There's always some maybe corporate politics that we could trample on. So being aware of that, again, asking questions, learning it with curiosity. And then just if you ever feel like you need to make a statement around an explosive topic, ask a question instead. Flip it to a question, and then the only commitment you should make in those situations, and never be afraid of them, is let me get back to you. I'm gonna run this up the flagpole. I've got somebody I'm gonna give a call to within my company. Let me get back to you, and then withdraw and seek some advice. I always teach young sales professionals, never let this stop you, because again, the overanalysis is paralysis. And so, David, I'm hitting you up with this one, man. Biggest objection in the current real estate market for title agency sales reps, the majority of the folks on this call, the listing agent wants us to use his or her title company. my buyers want the house. So this would be a real estate agent, a buyer's agent responding. My buyers want the house, so we went with the listing agent's choice to have a more marketable offer.
Well, having had Justin on and not being afraid to be wrong, I think that, you seek to understand, early on, what are the reasons behind using your listing, your folks versus ours. The buyer is the one that is spending the money. I would think that they should investing the money, for their home. I think that seeking to understand the reasons behind why that person versus what we normally do. Me, we teach, the process, stay true to your process, but seek to understand, is it an area for flexibility? Is it an area for, putting your feet down and not, again, not my industry, but I'm going to seek to understand the why. Like why must we go that direction? My buyer really is more comfortable and I'm more comfortable going this direction, and explain the why around that. We have 100% rate of things being on time, perfect.
Yeah. Real
How'd I do
estate
on that?
is,
You can give me 85%. You can give me 85
oh,
on
you
that,
did.
or-
You did. I think the thing is understanding why is where I'd start. A couple of things here, understanding that a real estate agent is B2C, a title agency is really B2B because you're calling on
Mhm.
real estate agents
Right.
or working with real estate agents as referral partners. But I think if you're talking to a buyer's agent, a couple of things. I think it's back to the challenger sell. Is the listing agent's title company going to do a good job? Is there risk involved with that? Have they vetted them? Have they had time to vet them? Hey, what would happen if, maybe painting a few contingency scenarios, like, hey, what would happen if, or helping them pump the brakes a little bit, and sometimes it's helping them sell, and not sell necessarily, but be curious and sell the other side on, hey, we're going to use these folks because of X, Y, and Z, and it'll be just as, and really helping that buyer's agent share why they vetted and picked you, and just getting ahead. I think in the second prong, so helping the buyer's agent communicate and sell, and giving maybe some scripting around you and why they vetted and picked you. Number two, though, I think, is getting ahead of it. So is there any opportunity to get ahead of that, right? So look into, because at some point, if they've already made their choice to go, it's a little bit harder backing up. So how do you get ahead of that? How do you get introduced to the listing agent and say, hey, work with the buyer's side here? And they typically go with our title company. Here's what we have in, here's what's in it for you, right? Because at some point there's something in it for them. And I think getting ahead and then also educating and helping people love to be given solutions or ideas, David. I find that all the time. If you could bring that one concept or that one idea that nobody else thought to bring, you're now a strategic partner, a trusted advisor. So that's where my headspace goes in the real estate. But again, starting with the why. What part of the offer do they think would become non-marketable if they go there? What, just trying to understand that. Yeah, but I have heard this objection. You're right. It is a big one right now in real estate. So, David, a couple of things I just want to run over real quick. We do a whole training seminar on the feel, felt, found, but why don't you run us through just a quick case scenario of what is the feel, felt, found when we do run into somebody says, hey, I want to use you as a second, but it's just going to be so much to change. I'm so loyal. What is a feel, felt, found? How does that work?
Yeah. So probably one of the oldest tactics in the book, which people have left alone for a long time. So now it seems brand new all over again, which is pretty cool.
I like
Whole new
calling it a
generation.
framework, although it is probably a tactic. But who's
It's a
great?
I'll go framework. But I mean, now we're new generations that have never seen it in action, and it is pretty simple. It is part of an objection handling. Especially when someone is very loyal, like I would like to, Tim, I appreciate I appreciate loyalty, and my client base is filled with loyal folks. So I know exactly how you feel. A lot of my best clients felt the same way, that they were loyal to someone that had served them for a long time. They wanted to bring us into the second. Now we're a primary. And that's what they found. They found that our systems, our processes, our folks are really attuned to the market, the things that we do special. So again, I've said, I know how you feel. Others have felt the same way. When they've committed to us, this is what they've found.
Yeah.
So you have to have that at the end, is that value proposition. You have to know what that's the value prop. And in a lot of our other work and building blocks and exercises, understanding why people buy from you, that's the easy one, because you know why they buy from you.
Yeah. Yep. A similar scenario. I use the feel felt found when somebody said, hey, I'm just, I've always had just one solution partner, and I don't know that I need a second. We've always been exclusive with, and I said something along the lines of, listen, I know how you feel. I value that. Less work, easier to think about, like easier this, easier that. Totally know how you feel. Several of my best clients today felt the same way. What they found, though, by moving forward with us and moving forward at a faster rate, they started saving a lot of time and even money, where we were able to bring in new efficiencies that, while I'm sure my competitor, cares about you very much, just the exclusivity had created nothing against them, had created some form of lackadaisical and or complacency, I think is the word I used, and they had gone lax a little bit, and so we came in a little bit more ambitious, a little bit more gung-ho. We brought them some efficiencies. We had some new technology, and their team really started finding new ways to save time. They were able to put more deal count through their agency, same manpower. So that's what they found. So again, it's the feel felt found works. It's worked in email responses. I don't say feel felt found necessarily the words, but sometimes just in the response, it's a sentence or two. It was worked on the phone. It gives me just a framework to kind of, again, empathize. And that's what Justin was talking about, empathy. And then moving from empathy, I know how you feel, then into the felt and found. Yep. So, and I think it also articulates my good clients, some of my good clients. It's saying they're now with me. They're now benefiting from the why, the value prop, because they move forward, but they found this when they did. So it's also, I think, as a salesperson, trying to help them discover life with you and what life without you might still look like. So it's creating a little bit of urgency there too. So
I think also part of what they found, which is your differentiations, some of that is going to be some global differentiation that you bring to everyone.
Right.
The better you know how you win versus your competition. Like, I win most often against ABC company with these things. I win most often against DEF company by these things. So understanding, so asking, loyalty is great. And so we all have to appreciate loyalty.
Yes.
And so you're sure not going to push hard, but if you know who that competitor is, and they're in the found portion, there's not just those global things, but some particular things. Not saying, I know ABC company doesn't do this and this is what they found, but you can very nuance it going right into those. Oh yeah.
Good.
We know that.
So good. David, I love it. Folks, several of you have asked, and as we wind our time down together, just a brief Q&A session. Quick reminder, send your questions in during the month. You can, again, drop those on YouTube, on the podcast as you're listening. You can send those in through the Jot form link. David and I are all about discovery. Discovery starts and never ends for us, because we believe when you're having fun in sales, you're asking questions. You're always curious. You are curious, George. So send us your questions. Next month, we'll be back to answer them. We have had several questions come in around time management, time blocking, calendar management. So next month, in the month of June, we are leaning into that. It's summer. We have vacations. We have things, graduations, and all that. We're going to bring time management, if nothing else, some best practices, some habits that we can start leveraging to free up more time to spend on the right high value activities. So calendar management, or priority management, or David, like you like to say,
behavior management.
Behavior management. We're going to bring that next month. So lean in, get registered, and share this call out with your friends in sales. David, leave us with the golden nugget, man.
Well, I had another question that came up in some of my coaching. One rep asked, well, when do I stop asking questions? Like in a very frustrated way, like when do I stop asking questions? And this was a person that early in his career really just loved the solution and just wanted to start talking about the solution as much as possible. And so the answer is very simple. When you have all the information you need, when you've gone through BANT plus C, budget authority, need, timing, competition, and when they stop asking, in our framework, Tim, we're going to start each meeting. This is what we've learned. This is where we were. Has anything changed? I mean, that's a curiosity question. We're not going to just ask that discovery at the beginning. We're going to continue to ask those questions. So if now you don't want to pepper them with 9 million questions, but conversationally, and in earlier in Justin's podcast talking about 5 minutes of the coach or the salesperson not being able to make a statement and ask a question, that can help you become curious and how to frame, and get the information. But that was something that's come up. When do I stop asking questions? And it's very simple. When you have all the information and they stop answering.
I would take it one step further. You stop asking questions. Well, never. What was the acronym David just used? Adelie, that's a great question. So BANT plus C. So budget, authority, need, timing, and competition. So BANT is an old framework out there. David and I refreshed with BANT plus C because we need to ask about competition. Who are they using? What do you love about them? Okay, you love that. What would it take to be delighted, right? So we go a step further. We do a whole training on that. If you're interested, reach out to me or your FNF rep, and we'll get something scheduled with you on a deeper dive on that. So great question, but BANT plus C, awesome. But David, I would take don't stop asking questions till the deal closes, and then you just start over. What else?
Yeah, and you do it continuously. Has anything changed?
How have you been? Who like you do you know who would value our solution? Asking for referrals, ask early, ask often, asking for reviews. So asking never stops, but asking questions on any opportunity in your pipeline doesn't stop until the deal closes. Here's the thing.
Yes.
Some of you all have deals in your pipeline that are sitting there. You're hoping they'll close. They've already moved on. They already closed with somebody else. You need to go ask, has this closed? And if it did, hey, what did you love about working with? I work with a lot of real estate agents. I work with a lot of mortgage bankers. What do you love about working with them? Catch you on the next round, and you drip on that person next 5 to 7 years like no one else is willing to, and you'll have another customer. So David, awesome stuff. Boom. We'll see you guys next month. Take care, everybody.